On what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, Amelia stood at the altar, radiant in her white gown, a gentle swell beneath her heart. The church was filled with flowers and expectant faces, but the one face she longed to see, her groom's, was nowhere in sight. An hour passed. Then two. The hushed whispers grew louder, turning into a symphony of pity and shock. A single, cruel text message confirmed her deepest fear. "I can't do this. I'm sorry." The words shattered her world. Humiliation washed over her, hot and suffocating. She couldn't bear the sympathetic stares, the silent judgments. Without a word, she turned and fled. She ran, her beautiful dress dragging through the city streets, each step a painful reminder of her broken dreams. The pristine white fabric became stained with the grime of her escape, mirroring the stain on her heart. She didn't know where she was going, only that she had to get away from the wreckage of her life. The city lights blurred through her tears. She found herself in a part of town she didn't recognize. The sounds of celebration from her own wedding replaced by the indifferent hum of urban life. The weight of her solitude pressed down on her, heavier than the baby in her womb. Alone, abandoned, and pregnant, it was a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. As twilight bled into the night sky, a sharp, unfamiliar pain shot through her abdomen. She gasped, leaning against a cold brick wall. It couldn't be, it was too soon. But another contraction, stronger this time, seized her, stealing her breath. Panic set in. She was in labor. Here, on a deserted street corner, with no one to help her. She sank to the pavement, her dress pooling around her like a fallen cloud. Cars sped past, their occupants oblivious to the drama unfolding on the sidewalk. She cried out, a sound lost in the city's noise. Was this how her story would end? In despair and isolation? Just as she felt herself succumbing to the pain and the fear, a sleek black car pulled over. The door opened, and a man stepped out, his silhouette framed by the headlights. Her heart leaped into her throat. Was it him? Had he come back for her? But as he stepped into the light, she saw it wasn't her runaway groom. It was his brother, Julian. The one who had always looked at her with a quiet kindness she had never fully understood. He rushed to her side, his face a mask of concern. "Amelia? What happened? Are you all right?" His voice was a lifeline in the chaos. Julian didn't hesitate. He gently helped her up, his arm a steady presence around her shoulders. "You're in labor," he said, his voice calm despite the urgency. "I'm taking you to the hospital. Right now." He carefully guided her into the warm, safe interior of his car, wrapping his own jacket around her trembling form. As he drove, he spoke in soothing tones, telling her to breathe, reassuring her that everything would be okay. He called the hospital, his efficiency a stark contrast to her ex-fiance's cowardice. In that moment, Julian was her anchor. At the hospital, the chaos continued, but it was an organized chaos. Nurses and doctors swarmed around her. Julian never left her side. He held her hand, wiped the sweat from her brow, and whispered words of encouragement. He was the birthing partner she never expected to have. When the pain became overwhelming, his steady presence was the only thing that kept her grounded. He advocated for her, speaking to the medical staff when she couldn't, ensuring she received the best care. He wasn't just his brother's stand-in, he was her champion. After hours of intense labor, the sound of a baby's cry filled the room. A beautiful, healthy baby girl was placed in Amelia's arms. Looking down at her daughter's tiny face, Amelia's heart filled with a love so powerful it eclipsed all the pain and betrayal. She had a new reason to live, a new purpose. She looked up at Julian, his eyes soft as he gazed at the baby. Tears welled up in her own. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "You saved us." He simply smiled, a genuine, warm smile that reached his eyes. "I'll always be here for you both," he promised. In the days that followed, Julian proved his words were not empty. He visited every day, bringing flowers, baby clothes, and a sense of normalcy to their hospital room. He held the baby with a natural ease, cooing at her and making her giggle. He helped Amelia navigate the initial challenges of motherhood, from changing diapers to figuring out feeding schedules. He listened without judgment as she poured out her hurt and anger over his brother's abandonment. He didn't make excuses for him. He just offered his unwavering support. When it was time to leave the hospital, Amelia had nowhere to go. The home she was supposed to share with her husband was no longer hers. "You're coming to stay with me," Julian said, not as a question, but as a statement of fact. He had already prepared a room for her and the baby at his spacious apartment. It was filled with everything they could possibly need. Amelia was overwhelmed by his kindness. Why was he doing all of this? Because it's the right thing to do, he said simply. And because ... I care about you, Amelia, I always have. Living with Julian was surprisingly easy. He was thoughtful and considerate, anticipating her needs before she even voiced them. He would come home from work and immediately take the baby, giving Amelia a much-needed break. They fell into a comfortable routine, sharing meals, watching movies, and taking turns with late-night feedings. They became a team, a family forged in the ashes of betrayal. Amelia found herself laughing again, a sound she thought she had lost forever. She watched Julian with her daughter, and her heart would ache with a new, unfamiliar emotion. She was falling for him. One evening, as they sat on the sofa after putting the baby to sleep, Amelia finally voiced the question that had been haunting her. Why? She asked softly. Why are you being so good to me? Julian turned to her, his expression serious. I told you, Amelia. I've always cared about you. Seeing you with my brother. It was difficult. He never deserved you. He never saw the incredible woman you are. He reached out and gently tucked a stray strand of hair behind her ear. When I saw you on that street, my only thought was protecting you. And I want to keep protecting you. Both of you, if you'll let me. His confession hung in the air between them, charged with unspoken feelings. Amelia's heart hammered against her ribs. This was real. This quiet, steadfast man had seen her at her worst, at her most broken, and he hadn't run. He had stayed. He had built her back up. He had shown her what true love and commitment looked like. It wasn't in grand gestures or empty promises at an altar. It was in the quiet moments, the shared responsibilities, the unwavering support. With tears in her eyes, she leaned in and kissed him. It was a kiss of gratitude, of hope, and of a new beginning. From the rubble of her past, a new love story began to bloom. One that was stronger and more beautiful than she could have ever imagined. Life had taken her on a devastating detour, but it had led her exactly where she needed to be, into the arms of a man who truly cherished her. Together, the three of them, Amelia, her daughter, and Julian, were not a broken family, but a new one, built on a foundation of kindness, respect, and a love that had triumphed over heartbreak. Her wedding dress might have been ruined, but her life was just beginning. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more content.